Hey everyone, welcome back to Homegrown Passion. Gotta apologize, I know we haven't put a video up for a while. I've gotten a few comments about it, but Doug and I have been super busy around the farm here. You know how things start to get out of control in the springtime and then summer hits and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get everything done I wanted to. So we've been working on a lot of landscaping up by the house, redoing some stuff, because our house is up on a hill and it's kind of hard to get everything done, to work on it. So Doug went and scraped all my flower beds for me. He had some old barnstone, he lined my one bed with it and got me some new flowers, a few rose bushes, and got some hospices for my sister and bought a few. So we've been rearranging everything. So we've been having fun doing that, and then putting the mulch down, still working on that. Mulch never goes as far as you think it is. So we're going to be back to doing videos here because I got a lot going on in the greenhouse now. I kind of slowed down a little bit while we were doing the landscaping, but I'm ready to get the things going. So I'm going to show you today everything that's going on and show you how the strawberries are and some different plans I'm going to be working on for the winter time. So I wanted to show you guys my peppers. I haven't grown peppers in the greenhouse for a couple of years. The first year we had the greenhouse going, Doug did all the hot peppers. He did the jalapenos, the Carolina Reapers, I can't remember all the different names, but they're all hot peppers. And every time he trimmed those plants up, I started sneezing. So I said, no more peppers in the greenhouse. Well, a couple of years ago and last year, I did these bell peppers out in the high tunnel, and I really enjoyed them. And they were a good seller at the farm market. So I thought, oh, I'll just do a few plants for me. Well, I took some to my CSA program, and they just loved them. So my change for the winter, I wanted to tell you about, is I'm going to do my whole row that I usually grow green beans in. I'm going to start, I already haven't started, some pepper plants. Because these guys take a long time to get going, and once they start producing, they go crazy. And now that we have the lights in here, I'll be able to keep these guys going all winter time. So these are really cool, different colored bell peppers. I'm got to pick some here. Look how nice those are. I guess I picked them a little too soon there. But a lot of my customers at the farm market did like them striped like that. Isn't that a beautiful pepper? So that's the change that we're going to do in here. So these pepper plants, once they start producing, the peppers are usually little, but as they keep going, they get bigger and bigger. Then I was reading about pepper plants, and they're an annual here in northern Ohio, in most of the part of the country, but in the south, they're perennials. So I've read that I can keep these plants going for 5 years. Don't know if I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try to keep them going for at least a year or so. So I thought I'd show you what I have growing in the greenhouse right now. Over here is Shnuku, which is a chrysanthemum green and smells and tastes like carrots, does really well. Down here I got some basil that needs to be picked. It's getting a little overdone. I'm going to do some pesto with that, so that's just for us. This is Rosie, which is the like a Carlton. It's an Asian green, but it's red, so it's a red green, and that's going the following week to my CSA program. Got a little Swiss chard growing here, and some mini bok choys. And over here I have leaf broccoli growing. I know Johnny Seed discontinued this, but I had a 1 pound bag of it that I had, so it's still good because I keep it in the refrigerator. And this is one of the ones where I plant the individual cubes. I put about 10 seeds in it, and then I take 2 cubes, mush them together, and put them into the channel here. Saves space, and it seems to grow really well. In a couple weeks this will be nice and big, and I just cut it off with a pair of scissors. So the rest of the stuff that's in the greenhouse here is for family, friends, and neighbors, since we decided to slow down a little bit this summer, but everybody likes their greens, and especially me. I love my salads and all my raw stuff, so got this growing for us. So I got some planting here I'm doing for my CSA, and got some more to finish here, and it is the Tocabacana, which is the open head cabbage. It turns into a kind of a yellowy color, so I always stump my horticultural friend Nathan Donnelly from Crop King about it, but it does really good here in the summertime. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, about the different time frames when you plant things in the summer versus the winter time, because you really have to watch your schedule if you're doing contract growing, because you don't want everything ready at once, so you don't want to have weeks in between where you don't have anything ready. So after I get done doing this, I'll take you in the head house and we'll show you my notes and how I figure things out. So you all know that I like to use the Oasis cubes. For me, they break apart a lot easier and they get into the channels. And the reason I have my dust off canned air in here is after I open up some of these spaghetti tubes, every once in a while they get clogged up, the water doesn't come out, so I stick this guy in there, give it a squirt of air, and it clears it all out. So I always make sure I have that on my cart while I'm planting. So since it's summertime, these guys will be ready in 5 weeks. They're actually right now, I think they're 6 days old. They grow that fast instead of 11 days in the winter time when they're in the nursery. Like I said, 5 weeks, and I'll be ready to harvest these and get them off to sale. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and I'll take you guys inside the head house and show you my notes and my scheduling and how I get this figured out and when to plant stuff and when to harvest. So while I was walking by the tomatoes going up into the head house, I thought, you know, let's take a break here and I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do with these guys. As you can tell, they're a total jungle. They've been going since November, and they were a really big seller for me with my CSA program, March through now. But now that all the outside tomatoes and the high tunnel tomatoes are coming in, these guys aren't such a big seller, and the plants are getting a little older. I know a lot of people keep them in for 6 months in the hydroponics, other people keep them for a year. I think I'm going to try the 6-month thing, pull these guys out, and I'm going to start new ones in probably September. So I have them even earlier in the winter time for the CSA program. And it's so much more fun growing them at that time of year because everything's so bleak outside, and then with the lights in here, it's just really cool. So little change of plans on how we're going to do our tomatoes. When I do grower school at Crop King, I always go and talk to the classes at the end of the day on Friday and give a real life experience of being a grower and how it is. One of the questions I always get, how do you know how to plant things? You know, sometimes it takes 5 weeks, sometimes it takes 8 weeks, sometimes it takes 9 weeks. So what I started doing, I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, is keeping notes on my iPad here. So here I have my Red Cloud Tatsoi. You know, it's 21 days baby, 45 days full size. You know, I put down when I seed it, when I harvest it. So this one I did back, seeded in September, harvested in October. It was 5 weeks and it was a really good size. So I always put notes in there if it's been perfect or not. Like there's a couple of them I put in there and it's been, oh, it was too big or a little big, yellow leaves did not take, 7 weeks, 5 days, really good. Okay, 1 per peg, used a few more days, could have used a few more days. So I just kind of keep notes as I harvest my stuff. I take my little tags that I put into the plants, you know, so I know what the tags are. I put the date that I seed it, and then you have the date that I harvested. And then I do a lot of things old school, so I keep my calendar here old school, so it kind of helps me keep myself on track and make sure I count the weeks out. So if it takes 5 weeks, I'm sitting here in the calendar counting the 5 weeks, but it works out really good for me. Just wanted to talk about the strawberry plants and a couple things that I did different this year that I think made a really big difference. First thing I did was I snipped off all the flowers until I had 5 full big leaves on, I would say, 90% of the plants. And then I've been keeping the runners off, keeping them clipped back. I mean, it's a pain in the butt doing it, but I do it as I harvest. And that's made such a big difference. My plants are so much more healthy. The stems are so much thicker. The strawberries stick up. They don't lie into the growing medium and get all gross. I didn't have to put anything to hold them up. They're growing over like they should. So it really did make a difference. Keep getting the leaves on them, letting them really get established, and keeping the runners off. I have much healthier, stronger plant. So something that you might want to keep in mind as you're doing your strawberries. Because I know last year I didn't wait till I got 5 leaves, and I had the farm market, so I really wanted to get some strawberries, and it was a pain because the stalks weren't, or the stems weren't strong enough to hold the strawberries up. So you just want to kind of keep an eye on your crop and figure out what's best for your situation. Since last year we had such an easy fall, and I was able to keep these guys producing to November because we never got a hard freeze, and I had the best strawberries then because of the cold nights. We decided this year that we're going to install a couple heaters in here, put a jet fan down, you know, to distribute the heat, and keep these guys going to December, because I think it'll be really easy to do, and it's a really good crop. So it's something a little bit different we're doing again for the winter time. So, you know, when we do the install, of course we're going to do a video and show you how we do that, because it's kind of hard getting the heaters hooked up there. Doug rented something, I forget what it was, to crank them up to get them in place so we can hang them correctly, and then putting the tube down the middle. It's kind of cool how that is done, and you've got to do the wire and the hooks and all that stuff. So we'll do a whole video on the install of the heating system in here. So last year we left all these runners that had come on the floor here. I kind of left them grow just to have strawberries for us, and of course they started getting ripe earlier. And I knew that one day there was like 4 or 5 of them that were just getting ready to be ripe, and I was all excited to come in the morning and get some fresh strawberries. Well, I opened up the door and they were completely gone. I'm like, what the heck, who got in here? And then I realized my one front corner, the high tunnel here, wasn't buttoned up, and a couple raccoons got in here and ate my strawberries that were out here in the bottom. And since these are 2-year-old plants, their strawberries are amazing. Oops, we're gonna get this guy off of here. Look at that. I got some strawberries to pick here. As you can see, the plants are doing really well for me. Let's get these guys off of here. Got lots of flowers. I've been keeping the doors down because we have lots of raccoons around here. The little buggers try to get in here to eat my strawberries. So every night I have to put the doors down. But my netting I have on the outside to keep the birds out is working to deter them, so I can leave the sides down. Otherwise it would get way too hot. Been trying really hard to keep the runners at bay. You can see I have a few here. So as I'm picking strawberries, I go ahead and pull off the runners. And there's another guy hidden there. So I'm going to go ahead and get my harvest bucket, and I'm going to harvest these guys, and I'll show you what I get at the end here. So I hope you guys liked today's video. Little different things we've been doing here, and it was kind of cool taking a break for a little bit doing the landscaping, but I'm so glad to be back here in the greenhouse. Like, it's always been my happy place. So like always, leave me questions, comments, and suggestions down below, and we'll see you guys next video. Yum.